Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to another episode of Muslimi Meets, where we meet fun, interesting, and amazing Muslims. And today we're joined by none other than our brother Muhammad here, mashallah. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
And we were just talking and chatting a little bit about yourself and your work. I know brother Yusuf Faqiri here, mashallah, knows quite a lot about the work that you do.
Too much. He knows too much.
Yeah, I think he's a little bit dangerous at times. He might know too much, but inshallah, it'll be okay. But maybe you could introduce Manzil and your company, because I know you guys do amazing work. So give us a little bit of insight as to what Manzil is and what it does.
Yeah, absolutely. So Manzil is Canada's first digital Islamic financial institution. Digital meaning we're completely online. You know, we don't have brick and mortar branches like other banks do. And we focus on a few areas or a few products, that being halal mortgages, halal investment solutions, halal wills or Islamic wills, and of course, prepaid credit cards.
So, you know, we're in a housing crisis right now.
Yes.
And I know a lot of Muslims are, you know, very much in a tough position, right? A lot of people, you know, there's different opinions around using mortgages, and a lot of people don't feel comfortable using one or taking out a traditional bank mortgage. Can you talk a little bit about the services you offer and how it helps cater to Muslims who sometimes feel a little bit hesitant going to the traditional banking market?
Yeah, no. So first and foremost, you know, when it comes to the traditional banking system, it's a ribawi or a usurious-based system. So this meaning that obviously riba in Islam is not permissible amongst Muslims. So you can't pay or receive interest. And I tell people, I say, you know, Islamic finance actually predates traditional finance, because Islamic finance was available during the time of the Prophet ﷺ. And for 1,000 years, this was the way or the mode of business or the way of banking globally. Until 400 years ago, you know, the Catholics and the Catholic Church, the Vatican, the Medicis, they introduced, you know, interest or, you know, discount bonds. And so that obviously became way more prevalent than Islamic finance. And so Islamic finance has a lot of catching up to do. And so when I tell Muslims today in Canada, because mashallah, we're 2 million strong, and I tell people we're 5% of the population, 1 out of 20 Canadians is a Muslim, growing to 3 million in the next 8 years, mashallah. You know, we're coming from Muslim majority countries where Islamic banking is prevalent. It's available alongside conventional banks, but not available here in Canada. And so how do we create a halal financial lifestyle, right, that accommodates us, right? We have to stay away from these riba-based systems. You may say to yourself, well, you know what, Islamic banking costs a little bit more. Yeah, tell them, I was born here. Halal meat was expensive back in the day, right?
Yeah.
But we came together, we united. There's halal butcher shops, there's halal, you know, meat farms. It's mainstream now, right? You know, we have Zabiha, we have Maple Lodge. Even now, these people are talking about actually combining their systems to only have a halal operation. Why? Because they'll just relabel, right, the other one as non-halal, even though it is halal, right? That's what they did in New Zealand and Australia. Halal banking is no different, right? It's a different process. It's a different way of doing things. The outcome is exactly the same, but we need to make it mainstream. And when you make it mainstream, that's when it becomes cost competitive or even cheaper than the traditional way. But we have to start somewhere. And inshallah, it doesn't take 40 years like it did for the halal meat industry to grow in Canada. Maybe it's only 5 or 10.
Any questions you guys want to jump in?
Yeah, you know, as I'm hearing Brother Bona and you talk, Mohammed, you know, what you're creating is, although there's history there, there's a story there before, you know, nowadays, but like from a Western context, is there another model like that, like what you're doing effectively here? And I'm referring to, we stay within the confines of the West, where like something like this has worked, because it seems like this truly is like, you know, one of its own, like at least in the North American context. So do we have a model there?
So in North America, I would say we're kind of the most robust Islamic financial institution, meaning like multi-product platform. There are institutions in the States that focus only on mortgages, like you have Guidance Residential, you have UIF. But when we think about the broader Western context, if you look at the UK, right, so the Britain, they actually have an Islamic banking system in place. Like from the government, it's fully regulated by the FCA. So in 2003, back then Prime Minister David Cameron said, I want Islamic banking to come into the UK. They created a hub. So now you have Islamic banks like Dubai Islamic Bank, Abu Dhabi's Al Rayyan Bank from Qatar, sitting next to Barclays and Standard Chartered. So what has this done is it's created equality. It's created access to financial products, whereas a Muslim, you could never get into. And so what I tell people, I say, we have to create a system outside of the system, number one, because our Muslim ummah, even here in Canada, is completely tied to this ribawi-based system. And when you think about what the scholars talk about, they tell you, like the biggest jihad, the biggest war today is the war on riba. It's in everybody's lives, right? And so our mandate from an impact perspective, from a sadaqah perspective, we want to transfer those that are with riba into halal, right? And that's the impact we want to make. And it starts with one Muslim and it goes to 2 million Muslims, right? Everyone across Canada has access to our products, even the non-Muslims, right? We don't like confine ourselves to just our demographic, because we tell people, yes, it's designed for Muslims, but if you want to participate in ethical banking, right, or in participatory banking, like they like to call it, you can, Manzil is for you. It's available, right?
So do you see a future where Islamic banking or Islamic finance is tied into the major institutions in Canada, where it just becomes something that TD or Scotiabank or any of these guys will offer?
So it's a very good question. I would say based on my current conversations, no, okay? Because when we think about the Canadian banking system, it's very small in terms of the number of players, and they're very comfortable.
Right.
Nobody wants to be first mover. They don't want to take that risk. So what may happen is, you know, inshallah, one day, Manzil is labeled as that Canadian Islamic bank. And we get so big that the banks start to say, well, we're actually missing out on this opportunity now. So we now have to switch gears and see how we can attract this market, right? So they'll be second movers or they'll be followers, I would say. But are they going to lead the charge? I highly doubt it.
You want to chime in with anything? We'll come back to Ash.
Yeah, I'm still thinking about wills because we talked about that
Yeah.
earlier.
Well, let's talk
rather
about
than
that.
riba.
We can talk
Yeah.
about it.
Let's talk
Okay,
about
yeah.
Islamic wills. I mean, it's something that a lot of people don't have.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah.
if I'm
Very
being completely, if
complicated.
I'm being
A lot of-
completely frank,
yeah.
I don't have a will.
There's a
Allah
lot of
protect
you
me.
kind of
We're
have
not
to do a lot of
educated on it, too.
research.
It's
Yeah,
not-
it's,
yeah, we're
it
not
can be
educated
kind
on
of
it.
complicated.
This goes back to, I would say, Manzil's like ideology or theology around just, you know, Islamic finance, Islamic inheritance. These things are very complicated issues, right? And we want to take the complex and simplify it. That's what we
Right.
did with our Halal mortgage program. You know, not everybody understands how a murabaha works or a musharaka works. Not everybody has the time to screen stocks or screen, you know, the universe of funds out there to be like, what's halal, what's not. We create that peace of mind. When you're on the Manzil platform as a client, every product that we push out and every product you want to participate in, you don't have to worry about the Sharia compliance, right? We've done our job. We have the right processes and governance in place to show the community that we're doing that work for you. You just participate. No different than Islamic will. So I was telling the sister previously, like, we've automated how to get a halal will. What do I mean by that? First of all, there's multiple madhahibs, right? Whether you're Shafi'i, Hanbali, Maliki, and Hanafi. And we've even introduced a universal madhab, right? So there's 5 options for you,
Allahu
right?
Akbar.
There's over 185 scenarios when it comes
Wow.
to Islamic inheritance.
SubhanAllah.
How do you split, right, that inheritance according to your family tree? That's what we've automated. And we've ensured that it complies with the local laws. So that if
Right.
anybody wanted to bring this to the court of law in Canada and contest it, they can't contest it,
SubhanAllah.
right? So this is the whole point of Manzil is how do you take secular law and then you combine it with the Sharia and both sides are happy.
Right. Well, look, I mean, I'm gonna sign up, inshallah, for myself first and foremost, okay? 'Cause I need a will. Nobody
We
kill
all
me if
do.
you're watching this,
Yeah.
okay? 'Cause
We all
my
do.
stuff ain't sorted out, so I need to make sure.
And if
Nobody
you don't
getting
have an
anything.
investment account, we got you. We're
Inshallah.
gonna sign you up. We're gonna put your first
Inshallah.
$100 in for you, inshallah.
Only 100.
Whatever you want, brother.
Pounds or
The
like
barakah.
francs or like dollars. So
I'm
yeah.
American. Can I get USD?
USD. Well, that's like $1 million.
So I
Right?
US dollar is strong.
your previous interaction with Bona and your response reminded me of a question that I mean I'm dying to ask is like we see the story of Manzil like now, right?
Yes.
There's a story, there's mashallah, there's so much amazing what's happened. But before that story, like the process, like was
Yeah.
it like what what you're effectively doing is you're disrupting the system
Yes.
indirectly. So like
Absolutely.
obviously not to get all the details, but how was that? And like if you were able to share some stuff with
No,
us.
for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah. So, I'm a banker, right, by, let's call it, profession. Since 2007, I graduated, I got into the banking system. And I've always been trying to attract the community as clients, just to get them investing, right? Because when you think about the Muslim demographic in Canada, there's two major stats. We have the lowest participation in home ownership and the lowest participation in capital markets or investing.
Wow.
Why? It's not because of our balance sheets. If you actually look at our household balance sheet, very strong. Lots of cash sitting on the side, undeployed, because there's no products. I can go into a TD bank and maybe they'll have some Arabic marketing for me and they'll have like an Arabic speaking teller. But then I say, hey, where's the halal mortgage? They say, we don't have it.
What is that?
Or give me a halal savings account. They give me an interest savings. So it comes down to the product, right? And so from a disruption perspective, I said, well, I need to disrupt, how halal banking is done in Canada. And it wasn't even being done. So I had to actually create it, because you think about the Western examples, we're the last G7 country to adopt Islamic banking.
Really?
Oh, really?
Last.
Wow.
Yeah, it's available in France. It's available in Germany.
Even in France, the ones who hate us.
France.
Allah
Yeah.
Akbar.
You can find.
Wow.
Find it.
That's crazy.
It's now available in Australia.
Wow.
They
There's a
have-
bigger population here.
5 times bigger.
La ilaha
They
illallah.
only have 400,000 Muslims in Australia.
Subhanallah.
Wow, we
Yeah,
are
there's
way
2 million of
behind.
us here. Wow.
That's
Right?
crazy.
Where we are is where the UK was 20 years ago. In 2003, they
Wow.
had 2 million Muslims. Now they have 5, mashallah. Right?
Wow.
We'll get there, right? But again, we're not united. And so back to your question, I did a lot of academic studying. Like I went to Rahman to do my MBA. There was a professor teaching Islamic finance. I was like, I need to understand how this works, because I'm reading up on it and I'm like, I don't know if this works in Canada. I don't understand the laws. I don't understand the regulatory frameworks, the tax, legal system, all this stuff. He said, you know what? I'll do you one better, be my TA. Alhamdulillah, that course gave me the foundation and the understanding that, I came out of it and said, it can be done.
Wow.
I don't know how. I'm saying in theory it could be done. MashaAllah, alhamdulillah,
MashaAllah.
that master's turned into a second master's in corporate government science. And then I
Wow.
also completed my doctorate in Islamic finance.
Wow.
So in
MashaAllah.
2017, again, demand, this, that. And then somebody was like, Muhammad, you have to do it. I'm like, how do I even start? So I said, you know what? Let me bring in a legal team, a Sharia team, consulting team, tax team. And I said, let's solve for this. It took me 3 years.
Subhanallah.
Yeah.
And what was happening, the lawyers would be like, oh, what the Sharia scholars ask for is illegal. And then the Sharia scholars would be saying, hey, what your lawyers are asking for is haram. So I'm like, guys, we need to
We need to
mesh.
work together.
We need to work together.
Yeah.
Think outside the box. It took 3 years, wallahi.
MashaAllah.
So 2017 to 2019, when we came into Riz, we were just about to launch. And that was just like, we figured it out and we're like, okay, alhamdulillah, let's announce. Let's see where this takes us. Alhamdulillah, we're back here today.
Allahu Akbar.
I remember, me and Brother Muhammad, it was like we say a meteoric rise. We're having conversations in 2017, and then slowly I see more and more stuff publicly,
It
and
takes
mashallah,
time.
and you see
Yes.
the work,
Time.
the fruits bearing,
Yeah,
fruition.
Yeah.
So,
Well, brother, where can people find out more about Manzil? Where can they find out how to invest and how to understand more about Islamic
everything
finance?
is on our website, manzil.ca, so manzil.ca.
Okay.
Our social handles are at GetMenzel or at Menzel Inc., depending on, Instagram is at
Sure.
GetMenzel. But, you sign up, it's very easy. All of our products are right after your sign up page. You can select which one, and then you just go through that journey, right? You want to invest as little as $1. That's the minimum. You want to get a mortgage, we're available. You want to get a halal will, you just go through that journey. You fill in your information, you print it out, you sign it, khalas, you're good to go, right?
Brother, may Allah give you tawfiq in your endeavors, inshallah.
Ameen,
What you're
ya
doing is
Allah.
very important work, and it's not just for our generation, but for the future generations.
Absolutely, this is legacy building.
100%.
Right?
So may Allah
It's
subhanahu wa
all
ta'ala put
about
barakah in it for you,
Ameen, ya
inshallah.
Ameen. Thank you. Please
Jazakallah
continue
khair.
your du'as. We
Thank
need
you.
it.
We'll all, inshallah, continue to make dua for you in the company. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you
and
for
thank you all
having
for
me.
watching, inshallah. Stay tuned for another episode of Muslimi Beats coming soon. Take care. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa
Wa alaikum
barakatuh.